Great. Then welcome to podcast number 9 today with Tima. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, very welcome. It's my pleasure.
Tima, tell us a bit about you. What are you about? Tell us your story. What are you doing here in Doha?
Okay, so my name is Tima and I've been quite so long in Doha. I'm from Tunisia originally, but never lived there. So I've been in Doha since 1998. So I think those 22 years.
Wow.
But then, I moved a bit in the middle. So I went to school here, then I went to Qatar University. I did my bachelor in human nutrition, and then worked for a year in a hospital. Then I left for my master's in England, and I spent there 2 years and a half. When I was at uni, I also left for 6 months, around roughly few months to Bali. But and then I'm back to Doha. I always come back to Doha.
Okay. Where did you study in the UK?
I did Leeds.
In Leeds. Nice.
Yeah, I love Leeds. So I did my master's in sports nutrition. So now I am sport and clinical dietitian. And I am a UK anti-doping advisor.
That's
what else?
interesting.
Oh, and yes, it's very interesting. The doping field, it's very, very interesting and fascinating.
We need to talk about that later as well. What you're doing and what is so excited about it, because I think it's maybe a field where none of us really hear a lot from or hear a lot about. Only when there are big highlight and big headlines, then we always see about doping and that sort of thing. But maybe some inside
I think only athletes that they are involved in it knows better about doping, and it's the most stressful, I guess, after a competition is the doping to them. So it's fascinating and it's very interesting field.
Okay. And what did you do in Bali? That was for pleasure or for studies? Or
I was just volunteering, teaching English for less fortunate kids that they could not afford to go to school. So Bali is a touristic island, and basically we were teaching them to be able to find jobs into the touristic fields and more into hotels and more into hospitality, something like that.
Hospitality.
So hospitality. Thank you. So more into hospitality and stuff. So that was very important period in my life. It was also a very nice experience. And today I am the ambassador of that organization that I used to live with them, basically.
Oh, nice. So what does it mean?
So I am the ambassador in Qatar. So basically, the organization, I remember when I went. So I went I went 2 consecutive years. 1 year I went for a month, and then I got super attached to the experience. So I came back the year after, and that was between 2014 2015. And since then, I remember first time I went, they were only 4 people, and then for only 4 volunteers. The second year we were more than 40, and I see the organization every year is just getting bigger and bigger. We reached to more schools than just, we had only 4 schools 2014, and now it's schools all around Bali that we are offering free English courses to less fortunate kids. And I just see it growing and growing, and now being an ambassador means that I will be raising awareness about the organization to increase the fundraising, basically, so we can build schools and go broader than Bali and go more international and more into other countries in East Asia.
Okay. Wow, that's a nice thing to do. But I guess that's more of a part-time, or that's not what you do full time. You are a
definitely.
nutritionist.
That is, yes, that is like non-profit side.
Okay.
And I think every person should have that, like just a little bit of giving back to the community, kinda in any field. But my full time is being a dietitian. And there is a difference between nutritionist and a dietitian, by the way.
Okay, tell me, because then I wasn't aware of that.
Oh yeah, so nutritionist, anyone can be a nutritionist. So nutritionist is if you take any online course, you can have like a 3-day course to 2 weeks course to 6 weeks course to few months course and be a nutritionist. It could be up to 3 years maybe. But nutritionist is basically you can only work with healthy people. You can only work into wellness. You can work, I don't know, in sports club maybe, or like spa, or you can do like health coach, or so you can only work with healthy people that they want to change their lifestyle. But dietitian, it's more regulated by a government body, so we're always regulated by the ministry as much as the dentists and the health allied professionals, the doctors, pharmacists are regulated, so we need a license to practice. We practice clinically. We practice on patients, not clients. So it's more of like with, and you have to have a bachelor degree that is more than 4 years. It's 4 years and a half to 5 years, depending on the country. Yeah, that's basically the difference. So dietitian is more clinically based. Nutritionist, anyone can be a nutritionist. So, yeah.
Okay. So, and what does a dietitian do? Give us maybe an idea of what you're doing. Are you helping people who are... Yeah.
So dietitian, for example, now, for example, the coronavirus, dietitians are the ones that they work in the ICU, that they regulate the feeding for the patients who are having the ventilation. So because you're having the ventilation, you don't have any mean of eating, so you will need to eat nasogastrically and eat through tubes, basically. Mm-hmm. So the feedings that goes through the tube is what the dietitian regulates into patients. So most of our work would be in every field in the hospital. So in every sector in the hospital, you will find a dietitian into the multidisciplinary team. Most of them are people who has critical illnesses or has difficulties in swallowing or digesting food, so it goes through tube feeding. So yeah, I have that. You have the tube feeding, and you have like clinical patients that they have like clinical diseases, like for example, Crohn's disease, the people who has gluten intolerance. Diseases like late stages cancer, dialysis patients. These people, they still can eat. They don't need tube feeding, but you need a dietitian to regulate, to make sure that their lab tests are all the minerals and vitamins and everything are into their normal range and level. And also make sure that they are not eating stuff that it could interfere with their treatments, to their disease, like as I said, like for example, dialysis patients.
Okay, and how does this tie into your doping field and what you do on that side?
So that is clinically, that is more broad, that is being a clinical dietitian. But then when I did my master's in sports, my kind of specialization became more into athletes. And more into performance, and that was the only sector that the reason that I did my master's, because it was the only sector that I did not know anything about it as a dietitian. We don't study in human nutrition and bachelor stuff about sports, so it was just very interesting to me, and and it's more positive compared to the clinical. Clinical, when I used to deal with patients in the hospital, like I built this patient-doctor like relationship kind of thing for months, and then one day you just go and you find your patient dead, and you find in the file patient expired on this date, on this on this time, and it's very first very like it's
Shocking.
very sad and very negative. Yes, it's just draining if that is what you do on a daily life. So that's why I decided to go for sports. It's more like you see the winning, you know, you see like when you see your athlete or your team winning, you just feel like you did something. Okay, they won because I'm a factor, you know. So there was a bit of hope there, and it was very interesting. I've learned loads of stuff during my master's and during my work with some athletes in England and here. So yeah, the doping again. Being a doping advisor is a given with the masters. I have to be anti-doping advisor. Because I'm the one that I will have to tell the athlete what supplements they should take and what product they should take. So if my athlete doped, my license will be retrieved too. So if he gets banned for God knows how many years or months, I will be banned too. I will be held responsible too. So yeah, it is part of being a sports dietitian, is to know what is doping and what can an athlete dope on.
Okay. And do you mainly advise then athletes here in Doha, or it doesn't really matter, you can do that internationally?
So I am a UK anti-doping advisor. However, however, it is still I still can practice here, but I do not. I am not advising. So I am not advising the athlete officially, let's say, but I am giving. I am not regulating the athlete officially because I'm not regulated in Doha when it comes to doping. But I do provide advice, and I do provide what kind of
guidance, maybe
brands, what kind of brands and what kind of supplements they can take, and because it's mainly the same. It's all coming from the WADA, all the illegal substances, all the illegal also all the brands that are suspicious. They are all also coming from WADA. So it's a list that comes from WADA, and I mean, there is not that big of a difference.
Okay, that sounds very exciting. Big career shift from, like you said, maybe something that is rather draining to being part of hopefully a winning team. Let us take a bit of a shift. We are, or many of us are fasting right now, and during Ramadan time. As a professional in the field, how do you see fasting? We know intermittent fasting is quite popular as well, not only for Muslim communities but around the world. So what's your take on that? What's your take on fasting?
So there is a big difference between intermittent fasting and the religious Islamic fasting.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so in the Islamic fasting is more of like, we call it dry fasting, which is like you don't have liquids too.
Okay.
But when it comes to intermittent fasting, you still can hydrate yourself constantly. So I think that is the main difference when it comes between intermittent fasting and the Islamic fasting, is that when it comes to Ramadan, you need to pay attention to being hydrated while you in the period that you break your fast and you can eat. There is not enough research in both fields. There is not enough research when it comes to intermittent fasting effects, long-term effects. There is not enough research neither on Ramadan kind of a fasting as a long-term effect. There is research. Most of them, they don't show any side effects. And I've read few that it says that it does not compromise the hydration if you fast, the Ramadan fasting, if you get your 2 to 3 liters daily target of water or liquids every day. So if you're able to manage that, then you will not be having the side effect of dehydration during fasting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But when it comes to intermittent fasting and fasting in general, why people do it, the intermittent fasting, why people do it, it depends. Most of the people that they are doing the intermittent fasting, their goal is weight loss. And when it comes to weight loss, it's not the intermittent fasting, it's not any type of diet, it's basically eating less than you burn, and that is what the intermittent fasting is doing. But is it sustainable? And are you able to stick to it for life? Because if you choose that way to be on less calories, then you should be very committed, and you should know that that will be your lifestyle forever, because that is the way that you chose to manage your calorie intake. If I make sense.
Does it make sense to have such a fasting day maybe once a week, once a month, twice a month? Because it's obviously not something I think that we can sustain forever as a lifestyle. But to maybe cut out food for, and there are different models, I'm sure you know them, for maybe 16 hours you cut out food once a week, and the rest of the 8 hours you drink and eat just normal.
But that you're saying once a week you do that, but what is the reason for that? What is the goal?
Yes, I mean there are models, right, where people fast for 16 hours for once a week, because they say, oh, that does good for my health, or that is has other benefits. Do you have any thoughts on that? Does that make sense, or is it not something?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on your goal, but health-wise, it does not. It's not going to contribute in anything if you fast once a week. It will not make any difference in your health, if you know what I mean. So again, as I said, fasting in general, like the only few research that there is about fasting, and it's been happening since like decades and hundreds of years, was how to manage the neurological diseases like epilepsy, Alzheimer, and all of that through fasting. And that is just to change the pathway of the energy. So when you get food, when you get like carbohydrates, for example, that is gonna convert to glucose, therefore it's gonna become an energy, and that's how you can function in your day. So what fast, like the concept of fasting begun in the research industry of nutrition because of these diseases. So they were testing if it works for these diseases to change the pathway from using the glucose as a source of energy to using ketone bodies, and that's why keto diet is famous now. To use the ketone bodies and the ketoneogenesis pathway instead, and that would, your brain would start feeding on ketone bodies, and therefore the neurological transmitters will be changed because it is not the same source of energy. And that how it showed the benefit of fasting. But then they got better and better into research, and they reached to a point that, hey, it should not be fasting, it should be more of like cutting the carbohydrate, and we can achieve that through being on ketoneogenesis diet, and that's how it started. So it started from fasting and evolved into the ketoneogenesis diet. But again, these are only for people who are suffering from specific neurological diseases, not for healthy people. Okay,
that's very interesting. And like you said, I think there's much more to the religious fasting. That's not only food related, of course. That's much more than that. But what do you have for iftar?
Me?
Yes.
Breakfast.
Breakfast dish for iftar. And how does that look like?
It is breaking the fast, right? So my breakfast is basically eggs, sometimes either avocado or just like any boiled veggies with eggs. Yeah, and my coffee. That is the first thing I have.
Okay, so delayed breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, I start with breakfast. So I just delay. So it's like the intermittent fasting, right? So you start like you just delay your meat and your meals, and that's what I do. So I just start with breakfast, and then I would have, that is around 6, right? And then I would have around 9:30, 10 my first like dense meal, and then I would have my suhoor, and that would be like, you know, the most filling meal. And and between those, I would be like sipping loads of teas, loads of herbal teas. That's how I choose to get my liquid in, and water.
Okay. And when you said for suhoor, this is your heaviest meal. How does that look like?
Yeah. So suhoor is basically my dinner, and that is like I would have pasta, for example. I would have always the laban. I don't know what they call it. It's laban, right? It's like any kind of dairy, basically, like
a yogurt
milk or
drink
laban
type.
and yogurt. Yes, exactly. So because that is dense, that is filling. It has the casein, especially dairy. It has casein. It's type of protein that is very filling, and it takes long time to digest. So it keeps you feel full for a longer time. So yeah, and I have like protein bars. Sometimes I have like salmon or chicken fillet that I can do fast, and with rice. Ooh, I love white rice. So
is there any time for workouts in between? Is this something that you do still during Ramadan?
Well, yeah, I do. I do only the fit live, but I do stretching every day. So I have like a routine in Ramadan. Okay, so I break my fast, and that is my coffee and my breakfast, very very small stuff, and then I have at 7:30 breathing exercise, and I do that for 30 minutes, and it's live too. And then I finish at 8:05. I eat something very like, you know, like just a snack, anything to snack on, 2 bites, and drink enough water. And then I start my live gym, 8:30.
Okay.
And that would end, 9:30, something like that. And there where I start like checking my emails, reading a book. Ooh, and after the live, I do my stretching, which is 10 to 15 minutes. So I have stretching goals. I want to become flexible. So I try to do that every time post exercise. And if I'm not exercising, then I just do the stretching. Or I dance. I love dancing. So I try to practice more. And yeah, then I would do my courses. Like I'm taking loads of courses, and that was a big mistake.
Okay.
But like I do my courses, and then if I want to take a break, then I do some calligraphy, put some nice music. Before I sleep, I do right before I sleep, I do the meditation, and I try to read 5 to 10 pages of any book or research or anything, just like 5 to 10 pages, not more. And yeah, that is basically what is constant every day during Ramadan. Before the iftar is basically being in the kitchen for 3-4 hours.
Preparing the food.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very nice routine that you have there, from workout, and shout out to Feed and Seek and Reynold and Tulio and the guys.
Yes.
And thank you for your live sessions.
Yes, they are so good. They motivate you.
Yes. If anything, then they do, yes. and then food. And I heard you did a lot of, I would say, mental practice as well, and relaxing things like calligraphy, you said, dancing, meditation, reading, which is, I think, also very important, not only during Ramadan, but during times where we are a bit tense and a bit stressed because of everything that's going on.
I think it is very important, especially during this time that you have a lot of time. Whenever, like, I think it's the best practice when you don't want to do anything in your day, or you feel very low or anything. Do anything that relaxes, if it is breathing and focusing on your breath just for 5 minutes or a few minutes. Reading a book, anything that could take off your mind in the meantime, it just relaxes you and soothes you. And by doing that through this period of time that God knows when it's going to be, like when we're going to go back to normal life and socializing, it's something really important that I think everyone should take with them to the next episode of life journey when we go out and we're released. I think it is very important to create such a habit, because life is going to be way more stressful when we go back dealing with all the economical recessions and all the stress and trying to pick up where we left. So I think the smartest thing to do now is to make it a habit that it is in your day, whether you are at home or you're stressed or whether it is a pandemic or not.
That sounds good. I hope really that many can stick to those habits once everything is over, and once we get maybe back to work, and to an extent where they can keep it up. Like, don't overload your days with meditation, workouts, and whatsoever, but maybe one, two things in the morning or in the evening that you can really stick to. That would be definitely beneficial. I really hope that we not only that we learn something from that period where we got a bit maybe slowed down by nature or whatever it was. Maybe a few other things food related. I mean, Doha in general, maybe now it's a bit more difficult with everything being closed, but we are very lucky to have a variety of food options, outlets, restaurants from around the world, and really good things. Do you have a favorite?
A favorite place to order food from?
Or to go to in the best case if we are not quarantined?
Oh, I can't have one favorite. That's not fair.
Have three then.
Oh, I have loads of places that I love. Oh my gosh. I love Lamar. It's a Peruvian food restaurant. It's like, I crave it like I have strong cravings to that food. I love Japanese food. Therefore, there is tons of restaurants. Oh my God, this is very nostalgic and very hard question.
There are way too many, right?
I don't have, exactly, there are way too many, and I can't have one favorite. I mean, I'm a person who loves everything. I don't have a favorite food. I have favorite cuisines, yes, like my favorite would be Japanese and Italian and then Peruvian, for sure. Okay. So, yeah, I can't say, I love Boho Social. It was one of the places that I always go to. Where else? Like, I love also street food. There is like this Thai street food restaurant in Al Nasser Street, or it is around Al Marqab Mall. Oh my God, that place also is like, it's something that I'm craving for so long.
You definitely need to share that restaurant name with us afterwards.
Ooh, I'm not. I think it's called Little Snack. No. It's like after Al Marqab Mall, it has like this. It looks like it's a Thai place. It's very obvious. It's in front of the Tunisian restaurant. So yeah, I just love that place.
I'm sure we'll find it.
It is very easy to find it.
Okay. Speaking about food, there are a few things, a few food trends or maybe food trends you can call them, that we briefly spoke about earlier, and you as a dietitian, I think you have your opinion on that. There is a big shift towards plant-based food, for example. Now with Beyond Meat bringing out alternatives to burger patties, to sausages, and to minced beef, etc., etc. And I see first restaurants really applying and using those products in their meals as well here in Doha. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I do not deny that we have been not been consuming enough fruits and vegetables in the past few decades. I think we neglect that into our culture, into everything. Social food, it's always labeled as like, oh, it's the healthy yucky food, it's not yummy. So I cannot deny that is one of the first first advice and first recommendation is to increase the consumption of fruits and vegetables by 50% of your daily food of your day, supposed to be fruits and vegetables. However, sorry, that is not corona. So however, it is I'm not a pro of plant-based. I'm not pro of cutting out the animal products, because the highest quality of protein, as simple as this, the highest quality of protein is the animal products, and it's the animal source of protein. Also, when it comes to dairy, it's a rich source of calcium, it's a rich source of vitamin D, it's a rich source of a lot of minerals, it's a rich source of also proteins and carbs. So shifting your diet to a complete plant-based, it has its own side effects too, and it has its own challenges, because you will not be able to reach your protein target, which is quite very important. So it's not only calories that you should take care of and you should put your eye on, but also it's not only the quantity, but also how much protein are you consuming a day, and that is the second most important factor when it comes to diet. So it's,
but don't you
again,
think that there are many plant-based protein sources that can possibly be the part of chicken or fish or wherever you get your protein usually from?
Mm-hmm. It is doable. It is possible. I'm not saying that it's not possible to reach your protein target through plants and vegetables. But again, the protein of animal products is way higher quality than the protein of vegetables. So if you are consuming 90 grams of chicken breast, that is around 21 grams of protein. If you consume 90 grams of specific vegetables that is rich in protein, that would give you 6, 9, if it is great source of protein, grams of the same portion. So, and also there is something called essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids, and then you've got the vitamin B12, and you've got few minerals, vitamins that you cannot find only in plant, but you can also find high quality of it into the animal products. So cutting out the animal products, I don't see the benefit of cutting out. Now, if it is ethical decision, then it's my job to make sure that you can reach your targets and you won't have any deficiencies through plant-based diet. However, if it is for health purposes, I will always try to talk you out from a plant-based, because when it comes to health, it is not the smartest option to go plant-based and completely cut off animal products. Again, it's doable, but it is more sustainable and easier, lifestyle if you have the animal product, and definitely more benefits if you do incorporate animal products into your diet. So again, health-wise, I don't see how plant-based, there is no evidence that plant-based diet is more healthy than a omnivore diet, which is us as human beings, we are omnivores. We're not carnivores, but we're also not like plant-based species. So we are made to eat animal products. And again, I don't see any evidence that says animal products are bad for your health.
Okay, that's interesting, and I think there are so many studies and opinions around that topic. And thank you for sharing your take on that. I think they are both. You can live plant-based very happy. You can live.
You can.
Mixed very happy. You can get your nutrition from both things. So
definitely,
I think at the end of the day, like you said, if you're healthy and if you're feeling good, and maybe like you said, sometimes there are ethical factors that play in. As long as it works for someone, I think that's the most important part.
Exactly. Yes.
Speaking of that, now and then we have a rise of superfoods, and I feel like 3-4 years ago we had goji berries, and then we had flax seeds and quinoa coming along, and now we have seaweed and nutritional yeast. Do you have any opinion on those things?
So,
and where do they come from? Like, why is it always so trend-based, so seasonal?
It is kind of like with the market, you know. It's the kind of like they basically create a need, and they make you believe that you actually need it. So it is very commercialized. It's very like the market finds a way to sell. What sells the most? Oh, when you find out like a superfood and something that we claim that is very healthy, and it's not wrong. I like all these foods, like the seaweed and the berries and all of that. They are all rich in trace elements and minerals and vitamins. Each one of them has very good sources of nutrients. They are nutrient dense. I don't deny that, but we do not like, especially as dietitians, we do not like the idea of superfood and making this food a holy way more than others. Now, each one of these superfood is rich in something, right? And we can have like hours conversation. You can name food, and I can tell you what it is rich with, and how nutrient dense it is. But so is every other food. So if I'm going to talk about the lettuce, cucumber, rice, anything that comes up in your mind, any kind of fruit, I am going to tell you also what it is rich in. So each food is rich in something, and all food is superfood. That's my point, is that they are not better than the food that we eat. But the whole idea, I don't think people should focus on, oh, this is very healthy, I should eat a lot from it, rather than focusing on how diverse is my diet on a daily basis. Am I eating a lot from only carbs, or am I eating a lot from animal products only, or am I eating a lot only from cucumber and lettuce, for example? So it's all about the diversity of the food, in order to get all the possible nutrients to not be deficient in anything. And again, the idea of, I see that the market is making it a superfood, but it's not superfood. It's a food that is nutrient dense as any other food on the planet.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. I know it's a bit of I don't want to tease you, but definitely if we have a professional in the field here, then I would like to get your opinion on that. And I agree. I think a balanced diet is what it needs and what keeps you healthy. If you can supplement it with a few berries or a few seeds or a few whatever comes out next, then that might be helpful, but it's definitely not the only way to go.
It's not about the only way, but it's about like, don't focus on this is healthy and this is unhealthy. I do not believe that there is any food that is unhealthy, because every food, even the fast food, even if you crave the McDonald's, you are getting something out of it. It's not gonna come, even if it is like caloric dense, not nutrient dense, you are getting calories out of it, so you're getting energy. So I mean, it, like all the food, there is something to get out of it. So it's the problem with the diet and the problem with your lifestyle is not about the food itself. People blame the food and label them by this is healthy, this is unhealthy, this is bad, this is good. While that is very wrong, and that is not the definition of food. It's not the food to blame, it's your lifestyle to blame. Is how much you overconsume from this specific food, is how much you neglect from this specific food groups, and how much you are consuming. Are you over-consuming? Are you under-consuming? And that is what someone should ask themselves daily, is not this is unhealthy, I should avoid it. You should not, like, if you will start doing that, you're kind of like doing the punishment reward kind of mentality to yourself, and that, I don't think that is a healthy relationship with the food.
Yes, that's true. I think so too, because like you said, if you feel like you're punishing yourself by eating vegetables only, then you should really overthink what you're eating, because that's, like you said, not a healthy relationship with food in general.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for being on the podcast today. We will end with a few quick questions, and I need quick answers from you.
Okay.
Crunchy or smooth peanut butter?
Crunchy.
Fluffy or firm pillow?
Firm.
Window or aisle seat in the airplane?
Window.
Okay. Beach or lake house?
Oh my god! Lake house.
Okay. Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Your sandwich cut in a diagonal way or straight?
Straight.
Okay, great. We will use that as a quick pre-roll, maybe for our podcast. Hey guys, I hope you liked that video. Oh, thank you. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, please give the video a like, subscribe to our channel for more interesting and inspiring content. Comment down below what you would like us to post. Don't miss out on any of our videos by turning on the notifications on our channel. Somewhere here, I guess. You can find all our social media links in the description below. Make sure to keep yourself updated with our content. See you in the next video.